Hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, yeah, thought to start the class with some music. It's weekend, right? So we're allowed to
Yes,
have,
every Friday, pata pata.
yeah, every Friday indeed. It's weekend. We're allowed to
I'm
have
it's
fun.
Thursday now.
Well, yeah, it's Thursday. Let's just say the weekend has started early.
Ooh.
Jesus, what do you think? Let's just say the weekend has started early.
Well, it's not a public holiday tomorrow, so I'm not sure.
Anyway, hope your week has been coming on okay. Um, I am still waiting for your research proposals. Um, Jesus, I looked at what you did. Your literature review still has a long way to go. I left some comments for you on that. I left a comment or two, I think, for you on that. Your literature review still has a long way to go. Shingai, you said you had put in some literature review on your work, but I still have not seen it.
I don't know. So I edited it last time. It's still undergoing edits, but I shared something, the beginning at least. Let me
Shingai,
share it again.
I had seen the first things you did, yes, but the upgrades that you have done, unless you sort of share it with me again, I will not automatically see it.
Let me reshare. I did so last time when we discussed on Tuesday. Let me do it again.
Okay. So today, if you look at your program for today, the topic for today is content analysis. That's the topic for today, content analysis. But then, if you recall what we did, I believe this was two classes ago, because this is week 10, where we did week 8 class on choosing a methodology. And I put you in those groups where you read about that, the online article you read. You would recall that content analysis was one of the methods that you looked at when you did that reading together. So, who amongst you can recall what exactly is content analysis? Content analysis class.
What um, I remember in your two sections was content analysis, quantitative and qualitative. The one in quantitative spoke about recording like appearances of certain words that you get from your data collection. And though it didn't, yeah, so that's what I got. So maybe from that you can get frequencies of okay, what types of words have been said. But I didn't get a detailed or in-depth understanding from it, from that article. Okay. So it's almost like quantitative. Pardon
Yeah,
me?
go on. I'm
Yes, I
listening.
was going to say, so it's in the quantitative aspect, it's like imputing um, qualitative data, maybe not words, and being able to analyze them in a quantitative way.
Who can help Jesus out? Who can add to what Jesus has given us? Class, who can add to what Jesus has given us? No one. We just did this in week 8. We read this stuff together. We did a little group activity together. We saw content analysis. I'm sure I shared the slides from week 8 with you after class. Um, one of the things this actually says is that we do the class, you do have some work to do, but you don't actually go back to do some kind of revision. You don't do any kind of follow up on your own. This is what this actually reveals. I'm going to paste in the charts. This is what we did read when we did that week 8 class. Click on that, go back to that um, online publication. Are we all there?
Yes, sir.
Are we there? Shingai, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Gina, are you there? Have you clicked on that? Has it opened on your screen?
Yes, it has.
Christine, Shauna, I've asked us to, on the chat box, what we did in week 8. I've asked us to go back to that reading that we read together in class. And we did a little exercise on it in class. We put them on the slide. So let's go back there. Let's click on that and go back there. Because I've asked were to do content analysis today. Last week was survey research. This week is content analysis. These are things we have looked at as methodologies, and masking what's content analysis, and can't really get a robust response from the class. Shona, could you share your screen with us, please? So I've made no, I've made you a co-host so that you can share your screen with us. Yeah, I'm gonna make everybody a co-host. So Shona, please share your screen with us. So since we're all there, I'll ask the question again. What is content analysis? Jesus, you have a question or you have a response? If you have a response, nope, someone else should speak up. If you have a question, go right ahead. We have all clicked on the reading. What is content analysis?
So content analysis is basically a method that's used to determine themes or concepts within like a given qualitative data, from what I've understood.
Who wants to add to that? Shingai has put their content analysis discussing and categorizing meaning of sentences, words, and phrases. Who wants to add to that? Look again at how it is defined in this reading. I've asked you to look at the entirety of how it is defined. Think about every single thing you have read there and try again. Content analysis. When you're reading a thing, read the entire thing and make sense of the entire thing, not just of a word here, a word there, a phrase, the entire thing you're given. Read the entire thing, think through the entire thing, and try to make sense of the entire thing you're reading. It's just, I think, a 2-line sentence or 3-line sentence there that defines content analysis. But think through that entire thing, make sense of it, and respond. This is the second week that Abena has not been in class. Does anyone know exactly what's going on with Abena?
Not sure, sir. I've reached out to her on Google Chat.
No one has a phone number, a WhatsApp.
I'll try reach out on WhatsApp and other social platforms. I'm not sure if Clifford can call her since they're in the same country.
Christine, can you share your screen with us, please? Looks like I'm not seeing your whole screen. That's I could not hear anything you said. Okay. Clifford, share your screen with us if you're using your laptop.
I'm also using my phone, please.
So who is using the laptop? Shingai, you're also using your phone.
I, no, I'm using my laptop.
Please share your screen with us. Okay, so this is content analysis, discussing and categorizing meaning of sentences, words, and phrases. But there's also content analysis under quantitative research. Could you scroll to that? All right, stop. So here it says, this refers content analysis. This refers to systematically recording the presence of certain words or a set of texts to analyze communication patterns. This refers to systematically recording the presence of certain words or a set of texts to analyze communication patterns. So this is definition, content analysis under quantitative research. Now let's go down to the definition under qualitative research. But hold that definition. So content analysis, discussing and categorizing meaning of sentences, words, and phrases. Now, I want you to put both together. Copy content analysis under quantitative research, paste it in a Word document, copy content analysis under qualitative research, paste it underneath that, and compare both. Compare both, and then give me your understanding of content analysis, a richer, more nuanced understanding of content analysis. Put both together and give me a richer, nuanced understanding of content analysis. And I don't just mean Shingai, I mean everyone. Clifford, give me what you understand by content analysis.
Yes, sir. Let me put that in the chat. I began typing.
Okay. Jesus, you have a question or you have a response?
I have a response.
Go ahead.
A response, content analysis is the process by which we categorize and codify the meaning of sentences, words, and phrases found in a series or number of texts, and then analyze them to find and identify communication patterns.
Better. So content analysis, you said it's a process. Content analysis is better said as a method. It's a research method. Now, when you come to research, you would always have this thing where sometimes you might be wondering, well, what's the difference between methodology and methods? Methodology is the entire investigative process. Methodology is the entire investigative process, beginning from the ontology behind your research, the epistemology behind your research, the axiology behind your research, and then the specific methods you're using. Now, I'm using those big words because by now you should be familiar with those words and you should have a sense of what they mean. We treated them: ontology, epistemology, axiology. We treated them. If they are strange to you and you have no clue what they mean, it's precisely because you've not been following up with your studies. We study these things and you just let it slide. No follow through, nothing. The things you hear in class, your ability to recall the things you hear in class, the best of us cannot recall more than 40% of what we hear in class. And that's the best of us. Will not ever be able to recall more than 40% of what we hear in class. The everyday normal human being in the world recalls just about 20% of what they hear in class. So if you do think that it's sufficient that you come to class, you listen, you participate, I'm right here telling you that the best it can do for you is probably 20%, 25%. And if you are a genius, not more than 40%. So methodology is the entire investigative process, because research is investigation in some sense. Investigation, interrogation, examination, and assessment. The entire process is that you use in doing this is your methodology, because it involves the ontology behind what you're doing, the epistemology behind what you're doing, the axiology or the ethics behind what you're doing. You know, the ontology, the truth claims behind what you're doing, the nature of truth that you subscribe to, that then guides what you're doing. The epistemology, now the particular philosophical school of thought and investigation that you subscribe to. Quantitative, is it a quantitative school like positivist epistemology? Is it a qualitative school like phenomenology, epistemology, and axiology, the ethics behind research? While methods are just then the specific technique, So your ontology influences your epistemology influences your axiology, and they all influence the specific method you then choose. If you choose to do interviews, there's a reason why you choose to do interviews. It implies that you believe that you can establish truth through the communicative process. That's why you're doing interviews. You believe that you can establish truth through the communicative process, talking. Through the communicative process, you believe you can establish truth. In studying, let's say, gravity, want to study gravity, can you establish the truth about gravity through communicative process? Shauna, what do you think?
Sorry, sir, please, could you repeat your question? Can you
Can you establish truth about gravity through the communicative process? Shona has given a response in the chat box. Can you establish truth about gravity through the communicative process? She's giving a response. Who's got a different response? She says, no, you can't. Go ahead if you have a different response.
I would say you could get something that's close to the truth, maybe even the truth, if the person is communicating something based on another type of scientific observation, like maybe their own positive approach of studying gravity. However, best practice would most likely to take a more positivist approach to studying it.
You can only establish truth about gravity through a positivist approach. Truth, gravity is established mathematically.
Okay, so to ask them, I said what I said because I was thinking, okay, so if someone has established this truth mathematically and has knowledge, someone else wants to learn about it. If that person wants to ask me, for instance, and I have done this mathematical establishment, can't I communicate the truth to him or her?
You're communicating truth, you're not establishing truth.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So your ontology believe that, oh, truth can be arrived at through the communicative process. Definitely a lot of social science methods fall under that ontology that believes that truth can be established through the communicative process. The truth can be established through the communicative process. So in the social sciences, we do a lot of interviews. Interviews is just huge in the social sciences. It does not mean that we don't do surveys. We do surveys. We count, tabulate, and all that. We do surveys. We also do content analysis in such a way where we do count. We follow a positivist methodology, but we also follow, the qualitative side of things. So content analysis can be done by count, the quantitative way, by count. But it can also be done by the communicative process, speech. You can do both. You can do count, you can do speech, or you could choose to just do count, or you could choose to do speech, looking at speech patterns. But at the end of the day, you want to get at what we see here, communication patterns. You want to understand what is going on with this communication. You can do count, or you could do meaning. So content analysis quantitatively is about count to establish communication pattern. Oh, this particular word appears, this is a paragraph of 500 words, and this particular word appears 50 times. Because this particular word appears 50 times in a paragraph of 500 words, it shows that the emphasis of this piece of communication is this thing. The emphasis is this thing. Because this word appears more times than any other. One way, content analysis count. The other way is just meaning. 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 And meaning can be explored through a single word. Meaning can be explored through phrases. Meaning can be explored through the full sentence of what the person has written down or said. Meaning can also be explored through a full paragraph of text. Meaning. You're going after meaning. See? So you read the text, and to the uninitiated eye, to somebody who is not from that, maybe that country, that street, that group, you know, someone has said something to another person. It could just be, you know, a group of 3 or 4 of you at ALU, and you're standing by the cafeteria, and one of you says to the other one, "Oh, when we get back to the hostel, I'm going to wrap myself in the red blanket." Now, it can be a seemingly straightforward statement. Everybody listening to you understands this straightforward way. Oh, when we all get back to the hostel, Shingai is going to take up a red blanket and wrap herself in a red blanket. Perhaps it's cold. But the 4 of you who are close friends, who move together, may actually understand that in saying, when we get back to hostel, I'm going to wrap myself in red blanket, your friend is speaking in code. Your friend is speaking in code. Your friend is speaking in code. When your friend says red blanket, your friend means something other than a physical red blanket, a material red blanket. Your friend is speaking in code. Now, a researcher comes in, and the researcher is just interested in speech patterns and all of that. And the researcher comes in, and the researcher begins to interview everybody there. Oh, Shingai told her friends that she's going to wrap herself in red blanket. What does Shingai mean? And they're like, why do you ask such a question? Of course, it means that Shingai is going to wrap herself up in a red blanket. Yeah. Maybe the next door neighbor to Shingai in the hostel then comes and says, you all don't really understand. When Shingai and those friends of hers, when they say red blanket, those girls, you can't just take what they say at face value. They mean something else. Then I ask that person, oh, they mean something else. What exactly is it they mean? I don't know. I'm not in their group, but I'm very sure if you go and ask them, you will get at what they really, really mean. And then before I come to Shingai and her group and begin to ask them, red blanket, red blanket, red blanket, I first asked a couple of students, males, females, different years, and all that. In this university, how do students communicate? Do they really have code words? What kind of code words do they have? You know, when we're in high school, for instance, I was in boarding house, and when it is days for us to eat yams, right? They would give us yams and soup or stews. When it's days for us to eat yams, in the classroom before lunch and all that, we begin to make jokes. Oh, today is a day for white rocks. That's what we refer yams. We call yams white rocks, because whatever kind of yams the school used to buy or whatever way the cooks used to cook it, when you get to dining hall, these yams were hard. So like today is white rocks. When we get to dining, we'll be shooting missiles today, because we get to dining hall, and large dining hall, you know, a school of 1,000 plus teenagers and all that, almost going 2,000 teenagers, large dining halls. They divide us into sections and all that. People will be stoning themselves with yams in the dining hall, playing, pranking. Like today, we're eating white rocks. you know? So this is what we mean by content analysis could be about categorizing meaning of sentences, words, and phrases. And on first instance, you'll be like, what is there to this? But I hope as I have given this explanation, you begin to understand how research, can problematize things that people say. You've done an interview, you have transcribed the interview, but you begin to understand why you can't just take at face value the things people have said to you. You have to seek meaning. Shinga, is this clearer?
Yes, it is, sir.
Gina, is this clearer?
Yes, it is, sir.
Any question around this search for meaning? Any question around this
Not really a question.
meaning?
Yeah, not really a question, but I think this helps better understand how certain things qualitative research can be very long, because then in addition to now identifying different words or patterns, you also have to understand what is really meant by those things, which can take some time.
So you can do content analysis on text that you're reading. Sometimes research is just about a text. A person takes a work done by Plato or Aristotle, or even more recent works, maybe Karl Marx, and says, okay, Karl Marx has published Capital. It's a book Karl Marx published called Capital. And says, okay, I'm going to read Capital. And I'm going to do a content analysis of Capital. Qualitative content analysis of Capital. So you understand that that person is going to do meaning. The person wants to get at the meaning of this publication beyond just face value. It might require the person to go back and say, okay, Karl Marx used this word. How was this word used 100 years ago when Karl Marx wrote capital? The word itself could even be capital. 100 years ago, how did they understand the word capital? So when Karl Marx writes capital, should I understand it the same way we understand using the word capital today? There are people who specialize in textual criticism. Textual criticism. Take a piece of work and they want to understand meaning. Meaning. But one of the things that the quantitative definition helps us to do is it takes us to, we can understand meaning for itself, but we can move further after understanding meaning to establish communication pattern. We all have our communication patterns. The way we talk, our words we use more often in our communication, even the way we gesticulate. I gesticulate, I do that. Some people could do that when they gesticulate. With time, communicative experts who study me, they might be able to tell my emotional state by the way I gesticulate. They might be able to tell my emotional state. Communicative experts may even be able to tell when I am lying and when I'm telling the truth by just observing me and my communicative patterns. Perhaps when I lie, one eyebrow goes higher than the other. Meaning communicative patterns. We can get at these through content analysis. We can get at these through content analysis. So you can begin to see how content analysis is really very powerful. It's a very powerful tool in the social sciences, content analysis. Because as social scientists, we are very invested in understanding the communicative process, communicative acts as social scientists. So from everything I've said, all the explanation I've given, I've just been the one talking. How would you then define, let's go back to it. How would you then define content analysis? I want you to use your own words. Don't parrot all these things that you have seen in this. What is it you have understood about content analysis? We'll start from Shona. Maybe your mic is not working, Shona. Put it in the chat. Content analysis. What do you understand by content analysis? Shingai, content analysis. What have you understood?
Can you come back to me? I'm just trying to phrase it in one sentence.
Gina, content analysis. It doesn't have to be one sentence, Shingai.
So content analysis would refer to a research method that can be used to
Just hold on there, Gina. Hold on there. Let me help you. Rather than trying to give a definitional explanation of content analysis, I want you to think about your work and say something like, the way I can use content analysis in my work would be to XYZ.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the way I can use a content analysis in my work is to one, quantify and analyze how many words are repeated in a given text, so that I can decode common themes, patterns that are recurrent, and and decode how these are communicated.
Okay. So Shona, you've seen what I've asked Gina to do. I want to hear from you also, Shona. Clifford, content analysis.
Okay, so I put it in the chat, but simply.
I'm not asking you to define it the way you put in the chat. You heard what I made Gina do. I want you to say something like, the way I will use content analysis in my work is like this, or like that, or like that, or like that.
Yes, sir. So if I were, the way content analysis would be used in my research is to identify particular themes within the from my interviews, as which would help. So let me come again. Sorry. The way content analysis would be used in my work is to identify themes from my interviews, which would then help analyze my results, as well as decode texts from as well as decode text from surveys. Yeah.
Okay. Christine? Christine, how would you use content analysis in your work? Jesus?
Problem. So I'll just let Mr. Manoj know that I'm speaking.
Lisa, so for me, I would say I'll use content analysis to
Can't hear you, Jesus. We've lost Jesus, or he's still here? We've lost Jesus. So Shona has put in the text, I will use content analysis in my research is to turn qualitative data into quantitative data by interpreting themes and coding them.
Lisa.
All right, Jesus, we're listening to you when we lost you, so you're back.
Excellent. Yes, so for me, I would use content analysis to identify, to analyze, or yes, to identify and analyze patterns, to analyze rather, and identify patterns, communication patterns from maybe interview responses that have been transcribed. Also, when analyzing or reviewing a set of literature text, maybe like journal articles, and also when trying to analyze responses, qualitative responses from a survey. And I have a question I'll just put in the chat after I've all responded.
Yeah, go ahead and put the question in the chat. Go ahead. Shingai, could you share your screen again, please? Okay, you know what? Don't worry, Shingai. Let me share mine. So I can actually do the thing I want to do.
Okay, sir.
So can you all see my screen now? I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay. So this is Editage Insights. This is from Editage Insights. Just like there were those videos that we watched at the start of the class on research when we started the class and all that. And I've encouraged you to go back to those videos and look at all the different research process that, you know, that are there that will help you in your work. It's the same thing with Editage Insights. See, they would help you. I don't know how you structure your study time or what you do with your study time since we're all at home. I know it can be tough, but you're not on holiday, you're a student, you gotta be tough, you gotta be disciplined, you gotta have study times, and you got to follow through with your studies. I'm sorry to say, but just anecdotal evidence from when we come to class and we discuss and ask questions and your responses and all that does not really give me the sense that for research method, you're really following through. You're really keeping yourself engaged. Now, what I want to emphasize here with this particular website is you can see at the bottom here, they've got number one, how to choose the research methodology best suited for your study, 7-minute read. They've got types of qualitative research methods, 4-minute read. They've got, okay, this is for PhDs, right? But these are insights. You can keep going. Number 4, secondary research. Number 5, The risk of not being on the same page as your supervisor, 6-minute read. So they've got this, bar at the bottom, 5 different insights that you can benefit from. The term is coming to an end. If you've been working, please take leave of absence. If you've been running your business, please come back to your studies. Next week is week 11. I would like to see a full research proposal by the end of next week from every one of you. A full research proposal. The topical area, the justification, the literature review, the methodology, ethics, limitations. I'd like to see a full first draft of your research proposal by the end of next week. I keep calling for your research proposal. Shauna, I've not received anything from you. I'm yet to receive from Christine. I'm yet to receive anything from Aberna. And all these couple of weeks, whenever I call on Shauna, share your screen, Shauna is not able to share her screen. These are indicators. They are indicators. If you do have challenges, whatever it is, internet subscription, even if it could be that it's your laptop, it's your phone, or whatever, let us know what you are facing in order that you can be an effective student. This is your last year. Let's see what's in the chat box. So this is the chat box, and there's a chat here from Jesus says, let's see. Okay, Jesus says the content analysis used to identify themes. Yes, if you exclude, it becomes that a subset of thematic analysis. You need content analysis to do thematic analysis. Yes, Jesus. You need content analysis to do thematic analysis. Thematic analysis is the communication pattern that we're talking about. Thematic analysis is now you being able to see communication patterns. So you need content analysis for that to happen, to see the communication patterns that you then put together to say, I'm doing thematic analysis. Jesus, does that answer your question?
Yes, I think for clarification.
Good. So Christine has here, I don't know how to phrase my response. Now you're asking Dr. Emmanuel, how do we find communication patterns in pre-choosing questions in the form of a survey? Christine, that's not my question. My question was just, how do you understand content analysis? And then I asked you to give the response in terms of, it might be easier for you to give the response in terms of thinking about your own work and how you would use it in your own work. But then if your work, you're just doing surveys is a different method entirely. You can just definitely say, I'm not going to use content analysis in my work. It's perfectly legitimate to say you're not going to use content analysis in your work. You're going to do surveys. So Christine, is this what you're getting at? That for your own work, you rather do surveys, Christine? Fine. It's totally legitimate for someone to say, I'm not going to use content analysis in my work, I'm going to use surveys. But you will still have had to answer my question then by, but how do you understand content analysis? You will still have had to answer that question. It would simply have been a case of, I'm not using content analysis in my work, so I'm not going to answer the question with respect to my own work. I'm not using content analysis, but this is how I understand content analysis to be. Do you get that, Christine? So perfectly legitimate to say I'm not going to do content analysis. I'm just going to do surveys. Totally okay. You must not do thematic analysis. You can just do your surveys. Use a questionnaire, use a Likert scale, and analyze it through statistical analysis and look for significance. You know, Shona sort of goes in that direction, but Shona's case is not about surveys. You can still do content analysis and still use quantitative techniques of analysis. You know, when you do counts and all that, counts from different interviews, and then you do an analysis. You know, you run a correlation analysis between different responses that you received that you have coded. You run correlation analysis on them. You know, you do the cross tabulation things. Any other question before we call it a day for this class? Any other question? Okay.
No question.
The class on Monday, I would probably have to do, I'll probably move it. I'll let you know sooner than later for the class on Monday. The reason for that is that I'm giving a talk. Some of you, I think I had shared it with some of you, but let me just do a screen share here. So I'm doing this on Monday. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
So I'm doing this on Monday, and this might fall into class time, I think. Oh, no, it doesn't affect our class. It affects the second year class. Yeah, 1:45 p.m. in Switzerland. It's 7:45 a.m. here. So it affects the year 2 class, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, I might have to shift our class on Monday, maybe to an earlier hour, so that I can also accommodate year 2s. But I'm still thinking about this. But by the end of the day tomorrow, I should be clear as to how I want to do. But you're all invited to this anyway. It's going to be online. I will send out by email a talk that I'm giving about this global thing. Any other business before call it a day? Yes, the other business is Future First 2021. I know some of you have looked at the idea note. I did say in my email, you're interested in helping to organize this, put your name down. None of you have done that so far. I wonder why. Because I do know that some of you are interested. But then I've said, this is the idea note, put your name down, no response. Yes, Shona, the idea note is online. Who's looked at the idea note? I think Jesus, Shingai, Christine, have you looked at that idea note? I know some of you have already looked at that idea note. Please respond if you've looked at it. So yes, the idea note is online. And then I have also shared the videos from our classes so far. Normally those videos are ready, I think between 24 to 48 hours after the class. So this class, for instance, the video should be ready by Saturday, and I'll share that. Usually, the music part, for instance, I will edit it out for copyright's sake. So that's the link to the idea note. Though I did share this in the email that I sent out to everyone, there's a link through the email that you can get to the idea note, but that's a link to the idea note. Again, I'll repeat, you're interested in us organizing this together, put your name on that idea note. There's a space for you to do that there. This time around, it's not going to be as expansive as the one we did in 2019 because it's going to be virtual. But this time around, it's going to be very, very much project oriented. So we are actually going to come out with pragmatic, practical ideas that we can run with. That's one of the things. That's one of the things that's going to really change on this one. The outcomes are really going to be practical, pragmatic that we can run with. And I'm doing it in tandem with the NGO that I have created, Digital Africa Foundation. Digital Africa Foundation, I'm going to be sending out a notification for interns in a week or two. I'll need some interns to work with me on Digital Africa Foundation, what we want to do. And one of the things we want to do through that is Future First. Digital Africa Foundation does not have money, but it can pay what ALU pays for internships. Okay, I think that's it for today. Unless someone else has something they want to ask or share, I think I'm done. Have a lovely weekend, you all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Which foundation did you mention, sir?
Digital Africa Foundation, an NGO
Oh, okay.
registered here in the US.
Okay, we'll look it up. Okay, so we'll be in touch. Thank you.
You cannot yet look it up because it doesn't yet have an online presence.
Oh no.
I just registered it. And it's going to be built up. That's why I need interns.
Okay, so we'll send our applications.
Okay, Shingai, I hear you. I hear you. But those of you who want to be involved in Future First, please put your name down. Have a good weekend, everyone. You take care.
Thank you
You
very
as
much, sir. Have a
well.
good weekend.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.